where the goal of the game is to kiss cute boys and occasionally pigeons.
There is going to be stuff in here that is way weirder than pigeons.
And where kid tries to pretend she isn't head over heels crazy in love with these games and she's far too cool to like boy get games.
Okay, just because these are awesome doesn't mean I don't realize how bizarre some of these are, but we're going to kick this off with our little intro video.
Alright, can we get the sound up on the computer? And welcome to Otome-Nia. What's that?
Is there a way to turn the lights off at the front?
No, there is not any way to turn the lights off.
Unfortunately, we do not have light control, so we're just going to like talk so hard that...
We get asked that at every single panel though, so that may be something you want to bring up at con feedback.
Yes. Alright, but this is Otome-Nia, the wild world of Otome games, but first, what are an Otome?
The reason we call it Otome-Nia, it's kind of a play on words, because Otome means young woman. These games in Japan are called Otome games, and we think we're clever.
Thank you for drawing attention to what a crappy pun this was. But before we get into all the hot fish shonen and utter visual novel madness, we are going to go back in time.
To where visual novels began, or where Otome games began.
Da-da-da-da.
Yes. With this, how many people think this looks familiar?
If you do, you are awesome.
If you are also old like me. This is from a game called Nobunaga's Ambition, where you go around Japan currying favor with various generals, but if you look very, very closely, isn't this a stat-raising game? What does this look like?
This is from Tokimeki Memorial Girls Side, which was released around 20 years later by the same game development company. And if you squint, you can see the similarities.
A lot of the mechanics are are very similar. You choose a different action to do each turn. You raise your stats little by little. You curry favor with, instead of generals, cute boys, and occasionally your teacher.
But instead of trying to conquer Japan in this game, you're trying to survive high school, so it is 10 times harder.
Now, Koei got away with making the same game about 7 or 8 times.
Well, this franchise was crazy successful in Japan in the 80s. You have like Nobunaga's Ambition, George Washington, Genghis Khan's Ambition.
You had Pirates in the Mediterranean, that Nobunaga's Ambition. But one interesting thing about Koei is it was founded by a husband and wife team and had a surprisingly high number of female programmers for the late 80s.
And here's the thing, at one point a lot of these female programmers got together and said, what if we take these strategy game gameplay mechanics and tweak them to make it appeal more to a casual audience? So what they did was they streamlined the gameplay, made the plot centered around character relationships, and made everything sparkly, sparkly.
And made Nobunaga's ambition for girls. It's very similar in a lot of ways. You're still trying to capture territory, but in this one, there's a lot more dialogue and character focus on the generals who you're trying to curry favor with, who all coincidentally happen to be really hot boys.
Yes, because you were one of 2 potential candidates to become supreme goddess of reality. And in order to gain power, you have to gain the favor of generals, but at the end of the game, you do have the option to say, you know, screw ultimate power, I'm gonna go make out with this dude and let the purple-haired chick win.
So yeah, you have the option to give up your journey to become goddess in favor of staying with the boy of your choice.
Now, Angelique is a massive franchise in Japan. There are around 12 games, including all the remakes, re-releases, and side stories. But after making Angelique, Ruby Party decided to do something kind of interesting. They put out surveys in otaku magazines, and they asked female gamers, are there other types of video games that you guys like to play? And for one thing, they found that a lot of women love Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, so they made Harakanaru Toki no Nakade, where you do RPG.
I love how you can say that without even slipping up once.
Thank you. But in this one, you do a lot of like RPG style battles and level grinding in addition to making out with your party members. And then you have Kinida no Corda, also known as La Corda Doro.
Now this was made into one of the many really crappy reverse harems that would come out later, right?
Oh, we'll talk about Otome-Anime because those are fun. But yeah, they found out that a lot of women were getting into classical music, so they said, okay, let's make a dating sim about classical music.
And then you have Getten no Hana, where Oda Nobunaga is dateable.
Yes, this is a game in which Yurei Kunoichi is sent to kill Oda Nobunaga, and you have to do little quick time events to sneak through his castle, but you can always decide to just make out with him if that's your thing.
But of course, besides the Nia, go ahead and hit it.
And get ready to click on the screen.
I know.
Alright, but other than these games, you know, Otome is still kind of a niche genre. There can't be that many of these, right?
Wrong.
We're about halfway done. Too many dudes.
Not enough.
And those are just the ones that came out for the PlayStation 2.
Out of this entire list of games, the only one that was ever localized into English was the really terrible Inuyasha dating sim that they printed like 300 copies of.
But so you have a lot of original works here, things like Hakuoki. You have a lot of stuff, adaptations. Who wouldn't want to play the Oron dating sim?
That would have sold pretty dang well over here, and in fact, believe it or not, there are like 12 Prince of Tennis dating sims, if anyone remembers that show.
Okay, yeah, before Utopia, it was, you know, Prince of Tennis.
It was Putty Tenny.
It was Putty Tenny, and
Too many princes.
every single, like, minor school ever mentioned in that manga, even once, has its own dating sim.
Also, I do want to say, I probably would play the Skip Beat dating sim too.
But,
in order to not be too depressing, we're going to talk about games you can actually buy. Hooray!
Starting with the big one, and that's Hakuoki. Now, here's the thing about Hakuoki. This is one where you get to date the Shinsengumi. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Shinsengumi were a civilian police force in the late 1500s, early 1600s, the Edo period in Japan. Now, one problem with making a romance game based on historical figures is that in real life, the Shinsengumi all died horribly, or defected, and then died horribly. But dead boyfriends don't make for a very good game, so the writers get around this by saying, okay, so, you know, this kid who died in this battle at the age of 19, How about we just told everyone he died and he actually became an albino vampire?
That is the plot of Hakuoki.
This is indeed the plot of Hakuoki.
That's what happened.
This game was originally released for the PS2, but the PS2 version never came out over here. Instead, we got the same game 3 times, under three different names, just to make this as difficult as possible when you're going to GameStop.
Also, there is a 4th Hakuoki game we
Which
got.
isn't even a dating sim.
It's a beat 'em up. But first we have Demon of the Fleeting Blossom.
Which came out for the PSP version.
This is a straight port of the PS2 game, except you can play it on the bus, or play it while you poop, or play it in space. And then we have Memories of the Shinsengumi, which has 3D magic.
And the ability to take a selfie of yourself with the boy of your choice.
Oh gosh.
Yes, you can take like a little photo with your 3DS camera, then put a bunch of blingy filters on it, and stick Hajime in the bottom right corner.
And then you have Stories of the Shinsengumi, which is the big one. This is the PS3 version, but hidden, turn the light down. And this is where you have the active animation system, where if you look closely, I don't know if y'all can see it, but his mouth is moving, he's blinking, his hair is flowing in the wind gracefully,
and his chest
is slowly moving as if he's breathing. And sometimes this looks really good, but sometimes, like, if they take the graphics, like where their teeth are clenched and they're angry, and their mouth is still moving around their teeth, and it looks kind of silly.
Now the other thing about this is that this is the first Hakuoki game and the first Hakuoki fan disc, so you will have all kinds of fun side stories, vignettes, and a high school AU.
Where in the high school AU, you can date some of the guys who are not normally dateable in the Hakuoki game.
Yes.
Like the Ninja Boy, and like what's his name? The one you like. Sanan. Yeah, the crazy guy.
Garbage.
Okay, as a rule of thumb, if there is a dude